Former presidents, current leaders and lawmakers, and former political adversaries remembered George H. Bush as the president who guided America through the end of the Cold War, while dedicating his life to serving his country and doing so with remarkable kindness and class. America has lost a patriot and humble servant in George Herbert Walker Bush, former President Barack Obama said in a statement with former First Lady Michelle Obama. The Obamas added that the 41st president, former CIA director, ambassador to the UN and naval aviator left a legacy of service that may never be matched, even though he'd want all of us to try. President Donald Trump remembered Bush, the scion of a family he often verbally sparred with, as someone who always set the bar higher, especially through his 1988 Republican National Convention speech and later inaugural address describing non-profit organizations as 1,000 points of light, words that later inspired a non-profit of their own. Through his essential authenticity, disarming wit, and unwavering commitment to faith, family, and country, President Bush inspired generations of his fellow Americans to public service to be, in his words, 1,000 points of light illuminating the greatness, hope, and opportunity of America to the world, Trump said in a statement with First Lady Melania Trump. Then Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton challenged Bush during the heated 1992 presidential campaign, eventually ousting the incumbent president. But Bush dispelled any hard feelings when he left Clinton a note on the Resolute desk in the Oval Office letting him know that he was rooting for him. Clinton said he was struck by this kindness and added his predecessor never stopped serving the country. "I will be forever grateful for the friendship we formed," Clinton said in a statement with former First Lady and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. "From the moment I met him as a young governor invited to his home in Kennebunkport, I was struck by the kindness he showed to Chelsea, by his innate and genuine decency, and by his devotion to Barbara, his children, and their growing brood." The Clintons added, "He never stopped serving. I saw it up close, working with him on tsunami relief in Asia and here at home after Hurricane Katrina. His remarkable leadership and great heart were always on full display." Former President Jimmy Carter said Bush's time in office was marked by grace, civility, and social conscience. Through his Points of Light initiative and other projects, he espoused the uniquely American volunteer spirit, fostering bipartisan support for citizen service and inspiring millions to embrace community volunteerism as a cherished responsibility, Carter and former First Lady Rosalynn Carter said in a statement. President George W. Bush remembered his father and fellow Commander-in-Chief as a man of the highest character and the best dad a son or daughter could ask for. The Bushes share with John and John Quincy Adams the distinction of being the only father-son presidential duos in the nation's history. The entire Bush family is deeply grateful for 41's life and love for the compassion of those who have cared and prayed for Dad, and for the condolences of our fellow citizens, George W. Bush, the 43rd president, said in a statement. His brother, former Florida Governor Jeb Bush, weighed in on their father's passing via Twitter on Saturday morning. "I already miss the greatest human being that I will ever know," the former governor of Florida wrote online. "Love you, Dad." George Prescott Bush, the 41st president's grandson and the latest member of the family to serve in public office, said Bush was the greatest man I ever knew. His life spanned the American century. He fought in World War II, took part in the Texas oil boom, served out a distinguished career in public service including serving as president during the final days of the Cold War, said George Prescott Bush, currently the Texas Land Commissioner, writing on Twitter. James Baker, one of Bush's closest friends who helped craft the elder Bush's foreign policy as Secretary of State and later as White House Chief of Staff, said it was my pleasure and great joy to have had him as my special friend for more than 60 years. The legacy of George H. Bush will be forever etched in the history of America and the world, Baker said in a statement. It is a lifelong record of selfless patriotic service to our nation. Bush and former Senator Tom Harkin, Iowa, teamed up on writing the American with Disabilities Act, one of the president's most consequential domestic policy legacies and a law that fundamentally transformed how the nation treated people with disabilities. Harkin added that Bush never wavered in seeing the law through to final passage. His words let the shameful wall of discrimination come tumbling down. When he signed the Americans with Disabilities Act echo throughout a more inclusive America for all, Harkin said in a statement. Former Kansas Senator Bob Dole, who ran against Bush for the 1988 Republican presidential nomination, said his fellow World War II veteran and friend answered the call to serve whenever our nation needed him even after he left the White House in 1993. And in retirement, He continued to inspire us, leading by example as he graciously stepped off the world stage, continued to meet with leaders who sought his wise counsel, and navigated with courage his final illness. God bless this great man of faith and hold our dear friend close. I have often told my children, if you want a role model in your life, look to President George Herbert Walker Bush, former Vice President Dan Quayle said of his former boss. Here they are seen in 1992 as Bush welcomes Quayle back to the White House amid the presidential campaign. People Fatally/AP photo. Bush's former Vice President Dan Quayle, an Indiana senator whose selection surprised Bush's advisors, said the 41st president, a former vice president himself, entered and left the West Wing as absolutely the same man. I have often told my children, if you want a role model in your life, look to President George Herbert Walker Bush, Quayle said in a statement, according to NBC News. Vice President Mike Pence and Second Lady Karen Pence described Bush in a statement Saturday as a man who always answered the call to serve America, and whose lifetime of service will be enshrined in the hearts of the American people forever. His years in Congress, as a diplomat, CIA director, and Vice President of the United States were characterized by modesty, integrity, and patriotism, the Pences said. His years as the 41st President of the United States left America and the world more peaceful, prosperous and secure. Funeral arrangements are continuing, and President Trump has said that he will attend the service with First Lady Melania Trump. NBC News reported that Bush will lie in state in the Capitol Rotunda this week and will be laid to rest in College Station, Texas, the home of his presidential library at which former First Lady Barbara Bush was laid to rest earlier this year. The 41st President's office is directing people to a remembrance website at georgiabush.com.